Hi, welcome to this video on Excel data formatting, covering the right-click Format Cells option, including formatting dates, currency and text. This video was recorded in November 2020 using Excel 365. Other versions may look slightly different. The spreadsheet on screen shows a list of fictitious invoice data for October. I want to amend the format of some of the data to make it a little clearer. First of all, let's look at amending the dates in the invoice date column. If we right click any cell, we're going to get a list of options here, and one of the options is the Format Cells option. And this, when we select it, brings up a new window, the Format Cells window, and it gives us lots of options of applying formats to whatever we've got highlighted. Now there's some tabs here, so we can start looking at the number, then we can start looking at the alignment. We've got font and we've got border and we've got fill. And if you've looked at a previous video of mine, some of these you'll recognize. So if I cancel this, we've got the font alignment, the font options here, we've got the alignment options here, we've got number options here, and at the bottom right of each of these options is this little button here, and if we select that button, it opens up the same Format Cells box. If we select it here, it goes to the actual particular tab that is referenced by the button you press. There's the font and alignment and the number. So what I'm interested in is changing the date format. So if I highlight all of the dates here and I right click and I select Format Cells, if I select this number option here, we've got options of the actual format of the data. So if I click on date, we can change this to look like predetermined formats within Excel. So if I select this is pretty good, the 14/03/2012. If I click OK, you'll see now it formats it with a slash instead of a dash. However, that's not quite what I want. So if I go back to Format Cells, I want something quite specific. So what I can do is I can go to this custom area here, and there's lots of date options in here. You can see this date. In fact, that's the style we've already applied. I don't want dashes or slashes, I want a space. So in here I can actually type the format I want, and in this sample here it shows you how that will be changed. So I've got 2 Ds for the date. If I only had one, what that means is if it's a single digit day, you'll only get a single digit. But if I put a second D, that means it will always be 2 digits. So it'll pad single digits with a 0. So you've got that 0, 1. Same with the month. So if I put a single month and it's January, it'll show 1. But if I have 2 M's, it'll show 0, 1. But if I put 4 M's, or rather 3 M's, it'll show Oct, and 4 M's will show the full October. And then with the year, if I have 2 yeses, it just shows the 2 numbers following the century. Now I have 4 yeses, it will show the full 2020, and that's what I want to see. So if I click OK, that has applied that here. Now let's look at this value, this amount field. So what I'm interested in here, you can see some of them have decimal points because there's some values that are within the decimal point range, but not all of them do, and that looks a little bit untidy. So what I want to do is make everything have a decimal point, and there's a couple of ways of me doing that. If I right click this and choose Format Cells again, if I select number, I've got the option of selecting so many decimal places. So I'll put it to 1 for the time being. If I click OK, it's rounded up some of them because that was 45. That was 99, so it's rounded it up. So actually, I'll tell you what, I want 2 decimal places. So I can go back into my right click and select there, or I can come here and there's a button here that is increase a decimal. So if I press that, it increases the decimal. I also want to add a comma between the thousands. If I press that, it adds a comma. So you can see there, we're getting a little bit more structure here. But also what I want to do is I want to show it as a currency. So if I go back to here, or I could do it up here as well. If I go to currency, I can select a currency symbol. So I'll put it as a pound here. And then it adds a pound to all of my values here. So that's quite neat now. The final thing I want to show you is the headers. So if here, it doesn't have to be headers, it could be any cell, but for me I'm going to show you the headers. Sometimes you've got lots and lots of columns that go right off screen, lots and lots of data, and it's sometimes the headers that cause the cells to be so wide. So what you can do is you can go to here and say, okay, format cells, and we go to alignment, and you can change the text alignment. So I'm going to change it to be minus 90 degrees, and then it does that. So it makes those columns that can be narrower because it's made the headers narrower. That is the end of this video. I hope you found it helpful.